So today we're talking about how to write really good cold emails with the push-pull method. So the push-pull method actually originated in flirting, in the old school pickup artist community. I got it from actually Beck Holland, who uses the push-pull method in cold emails and her outbound strategies. It's all about pushing and pulling to get an emotion out of someone. So the idea is, if you just give and you're just positive and you're just nice. I don't, recommend doing this in flirting. I recommend doing this in cold emails maybe. But the idea is, if you're just like giving, you're never gonna get anything back. So you need to push and pull all at the same time, all within the same email. So let's dive into really understand this method. So as Beck Holland explains, her emails that she trains her SDRs to do have 4 different lines. And the first line is a push. And a push basically means you're complimenting the person, or it's about them. You're kind of stroking their ego, and that's what the push is. So with the first line, it's basically like the first liner method that I've talked about in previous videos. You can check out the video in the description below. But basically that personalized first liner is all about the prospect, and that's what you're pushing. You're basically saying something like, oh, I noticed you wrote this awesome article. I really appreciated this point. It was super, super cool. You're basically stroking their ego, or it's about them. Or for example, oh, I noticed you commented on this post. I also agree with XYZ. It's about really more about them. So the first line is a push. The second line is a pull. So now we're pulling away and we're telling them about us. We're going into, preferably it's kind of a mixture though. It's about us, but how we can solve their problem. So we're trying to zoom in on one of their issues that we solve, and we basically tell them, hey, I can help you solve this thing with my service or product. So this is a pull. We're talking more about ourselves at this point. The third line is again a pull. We're going for a call to action. When can we meet? Are you available on Tuesday at 5 p.m? Beck Holland actually says try to be quite specific with when you want to get the meeting. So you can basically say, are you available Wednesday 2 p.m. or Thursday 5 p.m? You give them a couple options, but it's very specific. But again, this is a pull because you're asking for something from them, so you're pulling. So the fourth and final line is actually a push, where it goes against conventional wisdom of what most people say, which is basically end on the call to action, end on the third line with a question mark. Always end on a question mark. She's actually saying don't end on the question mark, don't end on the third line, end on a fourth line. So you have the call to action, which is the third line. The fourth line then is a left on a basically a push. So you're pushing back because you're talking about them. You're basically leaving it in a more ambiguous way, which is bringing up different emotions in them, and it's showing them that you're not that desperate. So she leaves it on. Anyways, I really hope your company continues to grow even more this quarter and more people get to know about your terrific product. So it's again, she's leaving it on this more ambiguous kind of way, which apparently is, what she reckons is a really good way. And I think it's definitely worth trying, because Beck Holland is, someone you should be checking out and following if you haven't. So let's go into the example she gives. The first line, which is the push, so it goes push, pull, pull, push. That's the 4 lines. Push, pull, pull, push. The first line is a push, and that's the personalized compliment, stroking the ego type of line, which you need to put some effort in. You can check out my video on the first liner method and how I do that. But basically, it takes about 3 to 5 minutes to personalize these emails. And in that video, I also show you how to automate the personalization. But basically, her line is, I love your podcast, and my favorite one is episode 249, when you told me your cat story. So she's not only saying I love your podcast, because anyone can say that, she's also going very specific and saying I love that episode and I love what you say in that episode. So it shows the the prospect that she's actually listened to it, and the guy or girl's going to feel actually like, oh, she's being genuine, she's actually listened to it, and she actually has a valid point. So it's not overgeneralized, it's going quite specific. So if they've written an article, you have to kind of go like, I love the article and I specifically like that point in the article, to show them that you've read it, because these are all just signals for them to take in, to really believe that this person's not just talking crap and that they're not just trying to get something out. So this is the push is really important here. The next line is a pull, and it's about telling them about the problem you solve, a specific problem the prospect has that you can solve. So she writes, so this is line number 2. I know personalizing your sales is difficult to do at scale, but with Outplay, your sales team can do that with a click of a button. So, that's line number 2. Line number 3, again, another pull. When you ask for your CTA, line number 3 is asking for the CTA, and it's why don't we Zoom on 3 p.m. on Wednesday so I can tell you how Outplay customers get 30% bump in meetings booked within 2 months of their sales team adopting us. So it kind of like leads, that's kind of sales pitch from line number 2 continues into call to action in line number 3. She's not only saying, how about we meet at 3 p.m. She's like, how about we meet at 3 p.m. so I can tell you X, Y, and Z. And then the final line is a push, which is, anyways, I really hope your company continues to grow even more this quarter and more people get to know about your terrific product. So it's a really interesting concept, and I hope you got a lot out of this video. Definitely try it in your cold emails. So make sure you check out this video on how to cold email 4 strategies. It's going to help you understand the different ways you can cold email in really, really good ways.